Hello and welcome. My name is Brother Sean and I'm the founder of the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans. And that's a group of men and women of different faith traditions who live a simple life based on the life of Francis of Assisi without the dogma, without the guilt and the religion that many of us as Catholic Christians had thrown at us as a nursing monk. But I still love my church. But the message from Jesus and Francis in 2008 in Assisi at his tomb was to go out away from my comfort zone and reach out to all faiths and none. And not to talk about religion or dogma, but to demonstrate true Franciscan spirituality rooted in the ancient Celtic traditions of our forefathers, showing compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, and love. But my purpose of going live and doing this presentation is really to give credit where credit's due. This morning I received an email from a very beautiful spiritual warrior, an eco-warrior, an ambassador of peace. Her name is Dr. Nina Meyerhof, who established Children of the Earth many years ago, uniting young people as ambassadors of peace. And the title of this report is called Peace, 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 Now and Forever. I want you to forgive me for having to read the text because it's quite long. And I do want to do Nina justice for writing this beautiful piece of work, and how appropriate that it should arrive for World Peace Week. So let's begin. Peace is something we all want. We know it is more than the absence of war. We know it is a state of being as well. We learn the words and seek the experience of inner peace for the road to world peace. And with so many wars, confrontations, challenges and competitions, how do we ever even learn to live this word, peace? Peace is a rare state of non-violence, and the mantra is total harmlessness. This is a truism reflected through thought, word and deed. Violence is a projection that resides in the mind, resulting from our many life experiences. In this pursuit of peace, we recognize a state of mindful non-violence. Violence living in the mind is every mental separation and slicing of life into segments for our own personal ego gratification. It is the heart that knows no boundaries, nor ego gratification, thus knows no violence, and remains open to love. And love is peace. Of course, it is practically impossible to be a non-ego-centered individual in a world where we live as individuals, uniting in families, cultures, religions and nations. This peace thus comes from releasing mind separations, or at least recognizing that this is not love. We recognize the heart moves us to embracing life. And as the heart takes leadership, life becomes more harmonious. Nina says our goal is to experience unitive synergy, uniting as one and furthering the understanding of the collaborative group. Oneness of the soul within the self, co-aligned with oneness within all other selves. The soul self becomes united until it experiences one with the whole. The heart is where the potential resides. Peace is possible. And Nina says our educational systems need to reflect the deepest understanding of what it means to be human and to live at a time when the true essence of a global society is truly the interconnectedness of all deeds. There has been an ongoing evolution for the need for moral education and the rising potential of the empowered voice of children. To take this deeper is to know that the next relevant educational need is to educate for consciousness, for global harmony, beyond pure subject matter. Children of the Earth, founded by Dr. Nina Meyerhof herself, she pioneers and activates this understanding for young people, not just in America, but worldwide. We serve young people to become spiritually conscious leaders through personal and social transformation for the advancement of a peaceful and sustainable earth. And that resonates with my Franciscan heart. Yes, it does. But Nina says we are determined to create an arena that serves to attract those who are inspired to serve the world through the discovery of their own inner authentic soul selves, passion for living a life of meaning. They respond in actualizing their personal intention, becoming inspired to altruism, and weaving a web bridging all personal, cultural, national, and religious divides. We offer workshops based on our training model, reflect, connect, act, building unitive, synergetic momentum, and the Children of the Earth houses this understanding, fostering an inner revolution for our social evolution. Peace is something we all want. We know it is more than the absence of war. We know it is a state of being as well. We learn the words and seek the experience of inner peace for the road to world peace. And with so many wars, confrontations, challenges, and competitions, how do we even learn to live this word of peace? How? How do we learn it? We know we are independent and interconnected, but are looking for ways to know how to live this, and what does this mean in our daily lives? We seek to lead with our hearts and live love. And that for me resonates 100%. If we are to change our behaviors, then our education must change. And I endorse that. Because as a Catholic Christian brought up in Southern Ireland, I realize now there was so much negativity and baggage that I carried throughout my adult life. But I'm so glad that I had an epiphany moment in Assisi in 2008. And we all need such an epiphany moment. And what Nina is doing and what she's trying to say here is such an epiphany moment for peace. There has been an ongoing evolution for the need for moral education and the rising of potential, the empowered voice of individuals. But Nina says to take this deeper is to know that the next relevant educational model is to educate for tapping into higher consciousness and translating the experience into societal actions, actions for external global harmony. We must lead with our hearts, use our minds to further our understanding of how the universe works, and then to learn how to behave as one family of humankind. Children of the Earth is founded for this purpose of spreading peace. And Nina has given many, many years where she's lived, moved, ate, breathed the very essence of uniting young people who are our future to be such ambassadors of peace, to make them become spiritually conscious leaders and to have a voice that's heard in a troubled world, a beautiful world. People so often tell me, oh, it's an evil world. It's not. Because God, the divine, the supreme, who has many names, did not create an imperfect model. He created perfection. You and I were created in perfection. But where has that perfection gone? Many of us, or many of society, have alienated their hearts from that perfection. I believe they've closed their heart. Their mind is fueled by negative theology, that they're evil, they're second class, they're unworthy. Maybe it's the color of their skin, maybe it's their lifestyle choice or gender orientation. You and I are here to endorse what the divine has to say. I carved you in the palm of my hand, and I made you whole, perfect, and complete. But Nina goes on to say that she offers workshops based on their training model, and we will talk about that in some detail in a few minutes. But for now, we must recognize that the youth of today are not the inheritors of our past, but the pilgrims pioneering our future. And look how we treat them. We have many questions to ask and to answer, but this can only be done in love. And as educators, we need to invite children and youth to envision a world they want, not the world we want them to have, but the world they're comfortable with. They must engage in a process of how to fully realize their inner potential and share this with the whole world. Furthermore, according to Nina, they need to explore and imagine how could we coexist as one humanity, and what does it truly mean that humanity is interconnected and interdependent. And she says, if we are to educate our children for these deeper understandings of life, then we must prepare them for the understanding that all consciousness is always evolving and is more and more accessible. We must further the recognition that each and every one of us, that's you and me, have a divine essence hidden beneath the many layers of cultural, ethnic, and religious differences. That we are basically the same. Yes, we are. And it is our minds that create separation. From duality into unity consciousness, Nina says, allows us to build a world that works for all. God did not create religion. I believe that religion was created by man to connect with a higher power. But I remember, and I'm just going to break now for a minute, where a beautiful lady, a disabled opera singer in Southern Ireland, phoned me here about 9 years ago. I was going through a bit of a rough time myself, health-wise. And she said to me, she asked me a question. What is the difference between religion and spirituality? Well, I was dumbfounded. I was going to hazard a guess, but then she said, look, let me tell you. But first she sung the prayer of peace, the prayer of Saint Francis. And she wasn't a Christian. She was an atheist. And she said to me, the difference between religion and spirituality is this. Religion is for those who live in fear of hell, whereas spirituality is for those of us who've come through hell. I leave that with you. Today, according to Nina, science and spirituality are coming to the same conclusion that all people are intrinsically similar. The Human Genome Project has proven that we are genetically 99.9% alike, with only 0.1% that makes us different. Wow. Until we realize that I am you and you are me, only then will right action and thought be supported by the universal laws of nature. Until we can concentrate on what makes us the same instead of what makes us different, only then can we deal with the challenges ahead. I like that, don't you? That's a challenge for all of us, that we are all interconnected, that we're all one. So why do we live in this ego center that separates us, that alienates that pure spark of divine love? But you know, I believe that with Nina, this inner self is always asking to be fully recognized. Thus, schooling no longer is looked at as a place of not only preparation for a professional future, but schooling is considered for the personal realization, for the individual to be fully actualized and pursue a life of caring for all of life, from oneself to the greater whole. Our world is changing. You will agree with that. And we see our global family as one, or do we? Looking at the world landscape, it is obvious that we are amidst a grand revolution that is pushing us into a sea of new understanding. The scientific realization of educators to foster the understanding of evolution, an evolution of consciousness. We can teach to know the self as one with others, and that one can help build the potential of altering the world to be a better place for you and me and the whole global village of God, for we are one. And it is with this support of the inner self, Nina says, leading to inner peace, for self-realization, to fostering greater peace for all. If you wish to read the full report of what Nina has written, then I shall give you the details of the website, and please contact Dr. Nina Meyerhof. She will be delighted to share it with you. But interestingly, what really drew my attention was the Code of Ethics, action based on selflessness and love. And it has a 7-pronged feature to it. The first is love. Love for the form, the voice, thoughts and spirit of each person. Respect for differences. Honesty of our feelings, thoughts and our behaviors to be more transparent. Truth in feelings and thoughts. Courage. Yes, courage to take a stand. Humility to reflect inner peace. And finally, wisdom to be a seeker. And the search for this authentic self, the universal human that lives is fulfilled and connected to Source, the I Am Presence. And for educators interested in methods of discovery of the divine spark, there are certain types of exercises that Nina has put together that fulfills this possibility. Reflect is the journey we take to awaken the inner self. The path may include meditation, contemplation, and/or prayer. As we become still, we hear the inner voice calling, yes, calling of our authentic self, and experience personal purpose. The inner quest for the authentic self. And as you go more deeply into the self, you begin to realize that you are not defined by your surroundings, your parents, your culture, or even your religion. Rather, inside you dwells a loving human being seeking full expression. There are questions which we share with you now, 3 in number. The first question to ask yourself, who am I really as my authentic self? And the second, what unique gifts do I bring to the world? And thirdly, how can I manifest my inner dreams for the world? Powerful. And we go on to the second, connect. Connect bridges the gap between self and others, leading to unity. Of course it does. Through deep compassion and listening, conflict, transcendence, and non-violent communications, we learn that it is possible to live in harmony, weaving the interconnectedness of our family worldwide. Deep compassion for others. You become conscious of how you can best express yourself in the world for the highest good, not only of yourself, but of others. In the background here, I have a little dog that's snoring her little heart out because she's content. And in a way it's lovely because it's grounding me in sharing this to you. So transforming conflict using language that recognizes the other, appreciating without judging. All these can occur when you no longer judge yourself. You begin to act as part of a whole. A sense of unity occurs that can be called love or spirituality in action. Let's read that again. A sense of unity occurs that can be called love or spirituality in action. And now for 3 more questions. How do I find connectedness and build a purposeful unity? How do I hear the inner heart of another person? How do I handle conflict in my life? Good question. Act is taking the inspired will to serve others in the world through individual actions, local projects, and global work. These acts are based on spiritual principles and ethics of spiritual activism. Knowing what to do. The third step, according to Nina, is based on awareness of a global community of young people who are waiting to connect with you and me. Together you are the new leaders of this evolving consciousness for social change. You share a growing awareness of how to live as stewards of all of life. From this consciousness, new models of how to live in our world emerge, ensuring a sustainable future for all humanity. And Nina gives us 3 more questions. What does it mean to live as a spiritual activist? What actions can I take to promote conscious social change? And what skills and abilities do I need to make a positive difference in the lives of others? But Nina goes on to say that our children's future lies in our hands. The mind is a tool used for learning, but the wisdom of the heart is the divine guidance. As young people focus on inner reflection, They are called forth to do acts of kindness in their lives and in the lives of others. And there are many, many examples of young people who have recognized their inner truth, living their divine spark, and set out into the world to make a difference. And she shares some beautiful examples. Lawrence of Liberia saw his father murdered and then ended up in a refugee camp to live in the same room as the murderer. Lawrence, through inner reflection and prayer, was able to forgive this man, come to peace within himself. Caroline's father was abducted and shot, and Caroline met the man who committed this atrocity and forgave him. Yes, she did. Through seeking and spiritual knowledge, she learned to be at peace with him and her loss. And in Nepal, Jimmy attended many programs starting at the age of 22, became inspired, and now has built schools in rural Nepal, serving over 5,000 students. Mark from the Philippines started bag programs based on children needing supplies to go to school, as he had done, and thus is now serving over 100 schools. A Purdue Center initiated by Deeper Learnings has in Ghana offered trainings to local school children from the area and programs for teachers on self-esteem and leadership for students for the past 10 years. Ashfag raised funds to serve the many children during the earthquake times with medical supplies and school materials. And finally, in Switzerland, a group of youth work for many years on free hugs in the cities such as Bern, Zurich, Basel, etc., or Basel, breaking cultural barriers of touching and expression of feelings, expressing their inner need to fulfill the understanding that we are one family of humanity, heart to heart. And in conclusion, Nina shares this. It is a timely moment in our history of humanity. We are so fortunate to be born now and to have this great choice to walk into a brilliant future and redesign our systems. We educate to move beyond religious divides into the understanding that we are all spiritual beings. Our philosophical premise recognizes that all know all life is to be valued and is valuable. Our goal is to live in unitive syncretic experience of our deeper understanding that we are collective species who may use our consciousness to evolve systems that bring us into an interdependent, interconnected, harmonious family of humankind, stewarding the needs of our earth. Let us reflect and give thanks. Let us give thanks to this amazing lady, whom I've had the privilege of knowing only a short time, but in my heart, I truly feel a connection. The heart, I believe, is the gateway to your soul, your higher self. And your higher self is the gateway to the divine or nirvana. And my life basically is to walk with you in prayer. Like many of my brothers and sisters, yes, many have chosen not to live as a contemplative, where they shut the world out so as to focus on the true essence and simplicity of nurturing a connection with the divine, but bringing the needs of others to this table of love. So my life really is a gift to you, whoever you may be, wherever you may be. And it's to walk with you as a prayer partner. And I ask nothing in return, only that you will pray for me. And the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans, it's like a bridge where we unite at ground level, grassroots, men and women of vision, who believe in all that Nina has shared with us, that we are one humankind, that we are all one family. But we focus not on the label that's man-made. We focus on the heart, wherein lives that divine spark that's been reiterated by Nina throughout this time of sharing with you. If you need further information, then you can either email me or go to our website, or you will find the information in a description of this video. You will have contact details. But we are celebrating global peace, world global peace, this week. And my contribution is to walk beside another who has paid the price for that incredible vision, where she too has been crucified, not necessarily to a cross like Jesus, but who's had her good name maligned, who've had people that she trusted who were behind closed doors making life very difficult for her. How appalling, but that is humanity. And I too have endured the same, where my own church, the Catholic Church, has disowned me in my diocese here in Cumbria because I welcome brothers and sisters of different faiths. And it's a hard one to acknowledge, and it's a hard one to accept. So in prayer I'm guided to send love, not to retaliate, but to send love out into the universe. And for those who come to our monastery garden, they wonder, why are these CDs dangling on the trees? It's because it has the prayer of Saint Francis. So when the sun's rays, the rays of brother sun or sister moon, hit those CD discs, I believe it transfers the core essence of peace to the whole world. I'm going to conclude now by sharing with you a beautiful Muslim and Jewish Christian prayer for peace. And you may wish to say it after me. O God, you are the source of life and peace. Praise be your name forever. We know it is you who turn our minds to thoughts of peace. Hear our prayer in this time of crisis. Your power changes hearts. Muslims, Christians, and Jews remember and profoundly affirm that they are followers of the one God, children of Abraham, brothers and sisters. Enemies begin to speak to one another. Those who are estranged join hands in friendship. Nations seek the way of peace together. Strengthen our resolve to give witness to these truths by the way we live. Give to us understanding that puts an end to strife, mercy that quenches hatred, and forgiveness that overcomes vengeance. Empower all people to live in your law of love. Amen. May the God of peace, who has many names, touch your heart right now, for I share my heart with yours. And with Nina, we bless you and thank you for your support for our young people today. Children of the earth, I bless you and I thank you for showing me what I can do, what I could do, what I should be doing to further peace. Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah Paxet Bonum Om Shanti, Solo de Caritas, Salam Alaikum, and may the peace of your God Goddess go with you now. Take up the invitation and become an ambassador of peace. Bless you and thank you.